And we're back with the Ursa Furiosa build update for Season 23, Season of the Wish. This is the 4th installment in the Ursa update series. This is a super-powered support build that is incredible for team play and is based on giving your teammates ridiculous amounts of super energy. This build makes the hardest content in Destiny 2 so much easier. Your teammates are gonna love you. You'll all be chaining supers back to back while giving your teammates heals, overshields, and damage buffs. But beware, this does not work solo. It is not viable for easy content. It only works in the harder, team-based content and does better the harder the content is. The more damage you protect your teammates from, the more orbs and super energy you create. In easy content, you won't have damage to block your teammates from, and therefore you will create very few orbs, making this build a complete waste. This is just for hard team stuff. It's built around the Ursa Furiosa exotic gauntlets. With Ursine Guard, you move faster while guarding when Sentinel Shield is active. Guarded damage converts to super energy when the super ends. So check this out. This is me doing one super and then wiping, without shooting any weapons or abilities, not making any orbs any other way except from my super. Having one teammate stand behind me in the shielded circle. The super lasts 14 seconds and I make 47 orbs. I did a deep dive into how this works, and what seems to matter is the amount of damage you are guarding your teammates from, and how many teammates are standing in the guarded area. Depending on that, it will add time to your super, and while that's just the base perk, but what the exotic gauntlets add is that you'll get back super energy based on how much damage you block your teammates from. That means your super will last longer and you'll get your next super faster. For the subclass, remember this is for the hardest content in the game. It's built around surviving the hard stuff. I'm going for super tanky and also keeping my teammates alive. In easier content, there are definitely better options that do more damage or make more explosions or whatnot, but this is for Grandmaster level content. We're not messing around. With that said, Sentinel Shield Super. Guard with a Sentinel Shield to create a defensive wall. Allies who shoot through the wall have increased weapon damage, and guarded allies make the shield last longer. This is a huge damage buff, and it really just helps the team, but your teammates have to learn how to play with it. So if your teammates are just running off and running around not standing behind your shield, it's useless. So you have to have some sort of way to communicate with them, whether it's Discord or text chat or whatever, to make sure, hey, stand behind me. For the abilities, I like Rally Barricade because it has a shorter cooldown and buffs your reload speed, stability, and range of all you and your teammates' weapons. Also, your teammates are far less likely to accidentally shoot a rocket into the shorter barricade than they are into Towering Barricade. The cooldown for this says 38 seconds and Towering says a minute 10, but those are actually incorrect when running Bastion. Bastion adds 10 seconds to Rally Barricade, taking it up to 48 seconds, and it actually minuses 10 seconds from Towering, bringing it down to 1 minute exactly. Run any jump you're comfortable with. I like Strafe Lift. I like Shield Throw. For the overshield it can give you in a pinch and for the extended range. Shield Bash is good and I like it for movement, but to play it more safe and stay back I use Shield Throw. Vortex Grenade is a super high damage grenade that pulls all the little adds into a center point. One of the major changes for this season is I'm leaning away from making things volatile and going more for grenade utility and generation. I'm doing this because there's actually more benefits running solar weapons this season than Void due to the seasonal artifact, and Volatile relies a bit on Void weapons, so therefore I did away with Controlled Demolition and instead swapped in Offensive Bulwark. While you have an overshield or inside a Ward of Dawn, your grenade charges significantly faster, you have increased melee range and damage, and melee final blows extend the duration of your overshield. You gain an additional shield throw while in Sentinel Shield. The grenade regeneration is significantly faster. It's definitely worth having, because you'll pretty consistently have an overshield, and that's due to Bastion. Cast your super to grant overshield to nearby allies. Casting your barricade grants overshield to yourself and nearby allies and empowers it, enabling it to slowly regenerate the overshields of allies bunkering behind it and extend their overshield duration. This is such a game changer for hard content. It's a huge support part of this build. Overshields are a big deal, and you'll be giving your whole team overshields consistently. And now due to Offensive Bulwark, also, the overshield gives you grenade regen. For the fragments, I've changed 2 of the 4. but I still got Echo of Starvation. Picking up a Void Breach or Orb of Power grants Devour. You'll be making a bunch of orbs, so Devour is pretty easy to keep up. It's a big heal. Echo of Persistence. Void buffs applied to you, Overshield and Devour have increased duration. We have no way of going invisible with this build, but our Overshield and Devour, we would like that to last longer. And then Echo of Undermining. Your Void grenades weaken targets. Now all those grenades you're throwing out are going to weaken enemies, helping you do more damage, and helping your teammates do more damage. Then Echo of Remnants. Your linking grenade effects, Vortex grenades, have increased duration, making that grenade and that weekend last longer. Now that we know the exotic and the fragments we want to use, what I like to do to get the most out of my stats is use d2armorpicker.com. I'm not sponsored. Here you can select Titan, the Ursa exotic, go down to stat boost section, select Starvation, Persistence, Undermining, go back up. I run with 100 resilience no matter what. It's a 30% damage resistance, then as high a discipline as I can get, and then as high as recovery as I can get. Then with what's left over, go strength, intellect, and mobility doesn't matter. Then what I'm left with is, you might have more options than me, but what I'm left with is what I'm wearing right now. And this tells you exactly which mods to put on, and you can equip it right from here. And now we can look at the mods. I like Radiant Light with Ursa because when you pop your super, you want your teammates to do as much damage as possible. And yes, you're about to create a bunch of orbs, but there might be a lull in the action, and for some reason you're not making an orb right away, and the first few shots your teammates take could be missing their armor charge surge buffs. This prevents that from happening and ensures your teammates have armor charges every time you super. Then Heavy Ammo Finder to get more heavy ammo, obviously, you want that. Then Solar Siphon because we're using solar weapons this season with the special artifacts. On the gauntlets, Impact Induction causing damage with a powered melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown to get that grenade a little faster. Causing damage with grenade reduces your melee cooldown. And this is really to get more melees so you can get your grenade back faster. Those kind of go together. And then Grenade Kickstart. Collecting an Orb of Power causes you to gain a temporary armor charge. When your grenade energy is fully expended, your armor charge is consumed and you gain grenade energy for each armor charge used. This is the only thing we're using armor charges for, and so basically you can get up to 4 armor charges with how we have it and utilize them just to get grenades back. On the chest, I have 2 resistance mods, so whatever is needed for that GM. This one is Void, so I had Void and Concussive Dampener. One charged up to increase the amount of armor charges we can carry just to get a little bit more grenade kickstart. If I'm really having a hard time with dying, I might switch up the charged up for another resistance mod of some sort. On the boots, Innervation, reduce grenade cooldown each time you pick up an Orb of Power, getting that grenade back even faster. Recuperation, replenish health each time you pick up an orb, just for a heal in case of emergency. Stacks on stacks, picking up an Orb of Power grants 1 additional armor charge to help with grenade kickstart. Bomber, reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability. I got double bomber to have that work double time. And then I accidentally had time dilation on here. I meant to have distribution. Time dilation doesn't matter because we don't have anything that's going to cause our armor charge to go away except for grenade kickstart. So our armor charges aren't decaying, so we don't need them to last longer. So distribution, reduce all ability cooldowns when using your class ability near targets. And then for the artifact, the reason why we can take advantage of solar weapons this season so much is because of what's in this artifact and because of Flint Striker, Rapid Solar Weapon, Precision Hits, and Rapid Solar Weapon Final Blows grant Radiant. This lets us take advantage of Kindling Trigger. Radiant causes solar weapons to apply scorched to unscorched combatants, and if your teammates are strand or stasis, while Radiant deal increased weapon damage to combatants affected by strand and stasis. And then Rays of Precision, while Radiant Solar Precision Final Blows cause combatants to ignite. So that's the reason why we can really get away with using solar weapons this season. There's not much else that helps us, but I like Blast Radius, get some more armor charges if we need it. Taken Spec, increase damage to Taken and Scorn. Wished into Being while your super's nearly fully charged. Ability Final Blows spawn Orbs of Power. And then if there's overload, I like to use rockets. Argent Ordnance, firing a rocket launcher consumes 1 stack of armor charge, granting increased damage and reload speed until you reload or stow your rocket launcher. As far as weapons, for this GM that I was just running, I had Barrier and Unstoppable, so therefore I was using Foe Runner, which is a sidearm, and you get sidearm overcharged, so it's overcharged, exotic, sidearm, so it did a lot of damage, and it took care of Barrier. The other option would be something like Arbalest, but linear fusions aren't overcharged this season, so I like Forerunner for this season. But you could run Witherhoard or Riptide or Pardon Our Dust or something else. And then for my main weapon, my main primary, I'm using Zauli's Bane with explosive payload incandescent. You can really use any solar hand cannon you want. I do like incandescent, but it's not as effective on GMs just because it's so hard to get bigger things to die. So you could use something else like Luna's Howl here with Heal Clip. But this was to take care of Unstoppable, and it worked really well. If I needed to take care of Barrier and Overload, then I would switch to the Aim It, and that would take care of the Overload from Overload Auto Rifle. With this setup right here, Forerunner takes care of Barrier, Hand Cannon takes care of Unstoppable, and Rocket Launcher takes care of Overload, thanks to Overload Rocket Launchers. There you have it, that's the build. The ultimate Void Titan support build for the hardest content in Destiny 2. Hope you enjoy this build. Let me know how your GMs go. Thanks for watching. Peace.